Did you record with Elvin besides the Lighthouse session?
Oh yeah, we did Genesis, we did Mr. Jones, we did Merry Go Round. There's four releases in that period.
And what about in the studio? Were there instructions?
Well, you brought your tune in, or in that case, Gene Perler, who was the bassist, was kind of the producer, and of course I knew him, and we definitely talked about the form of the tune, what was going to happen. Elvin, say, okay, what's next, and it would take care of itself. I mean, of course, the studio in those days were 3-hour sessions paid by the record company. You had to move quickly. There were usually no second takes. Editing was minimal, if at all. I must say, you were on the hot seat, and I had to really get used to that. It took me a while, believe me, to not be uptight, to um, try to be natural, try to be relaxed, try not to plan what I was going to play, knowing that whatever I did, it was up to the leader or the producer to use the take they liked. So you might have taken a great solo in take two, but tough luck for you if they took take one. And that kind of pressure was, I tell you, it was a real learning curve, I must say. I mean, I'm with Elvin Jones and then Miles Davis in the studio. I certainly know it's going to be heard by the jazz public, and that was something I had to get used to, that's for sure.
Now, what about the infamous On the Corner session, which when you went there, you didn't know what it was going to be. What did
Mhm.
Miles say to you during that session? That was the first time you actually worked with him. You showed up at the studio. What happened in terms of instruction and what to play?
Absolutely nothing. I came late. I was called late and arrived late on a session. Again, I know it was a 3-hour session. In Miles's case, it usually started at 10 in the morning till 1, if it went that long. I got there at 12:30 to the studio, Madison Avenue, 52nd Street. I stood in the little ante room between the studio and the recording booth. In the window, I looked in and saw all those guys. Chick Corea, Herbie Hancock, Don Elias, Colin Walcott. I mean, Larry Young, McLaughlin. Jack, DeJeanette. I mean, it was a cast of characters. Everybody kind of looking and nobody playing. And then Miles saw me and he beckoned me to come in. I went in. I heard him say a few words to Jack. I don't know what he did. He whispered in Jack's ear. Next thing I know, they started playing. They were obviously in the middle of something. The thing that was remarkable, kind of not so good for me, was these were all electric instruments. So without, they were all going direct into the board. If your readership knows or listeners know what I mean. In other words, it was you didn't hear the sound in the studio like you did in a live gig. I didn't have headphones, which is how you hear everything. I just heard a lot of clicking of keyboards and patter, and of course I heard the drums and the tablas and whatever instruments were naturally acoustic. But when the electric guitar and the organ, electric piano, I don't know what Herbie was playing. Chick was on electric, I know that. Guitar I didn't hear. I just started playing. I don't know if I heard the root. I didn't realize what it was, and that's the first tune on the on the recording, and that was it. Miles beckoned me to solo and play, and he pushed me to the mic. In this case, there was one large microphone in the middle of the room that was obviously Miles's mic. He pushed me physically, put his hand on my back. He pushed me up to the mic, signaled with his fingers something I don't know if you can see, like this. Took the soprano out, played, did my best guessing I could. That was it. And that was the last tune of the session because after that, everything closed down. Next thing I know, I was standing in the booth. He passed me. He was on his way out. He usually left, as I found out, quite quickly with cassettes in those days, a cassette recording. And he just said to me, like in that voice, he said, join my band, join my band. And I didn't know what he was talking about, if he was being real or was being disingenuous. I didn't understand. I just said to him, I'm with Elvin. I can't do that. And then he said, and he left. And that was it. That was On the Corner.
But Lee, why no headphones?
Well, I didn't have time. Nobody gave me any. I mean, I walked in at the end, and that was it. I mean, they might have been lying there. They might have put it on, but I didn't think about it. Because Miles put his fingers, as I say, he signaled to play when he saw me and come in and then play, and that was it. I mean, I didn't have time to think. No engineer came out and said, "Hey, Dave, here's a set of headphones." And as I learned with him, of course, as I did when I joined him 6 months later, in the beginning of '73. His sessions were like green light on all the time. There were no takes. It wasn't take one, take two. He would just play. You played. The tape was on. It would stop. That was the end of the session. And usually, from what I understood or what I could see, Tio Macero was the guy who took all that time, all those minutes, and put them together into a recording. I was On the Corner or Get Up With It. What we did in those days.